Week 14 is full of surprises, and it brings us into a difficult week 15. Let's talk about it. Week 14 has come and gone, and week 15 is well on its way. But before we go into week 15, we need to talk about the mishaps and the confusion and the surprises that we encountered in week 14. But before we move on any further, I got to check in with my co host, my main man. The dude has been next to me since day one. C-Dub, what is going on?
Another day in paradise, my man. Ready to rock. Get this thing going. It was a fun week 14.
It was an interesting week 14, that's for sure, man.
Especially with a bunch of fantasy playoffs on the line. So
yeah. Before we get into anything, how was your fantasy outlook right now?
Feeling pretty decent. You know, I secured bye weeks in majority of my leagues. I'm in 8, so there's 2 leagues that don't do bye weeks. So that's interesting. And then there's one that I'm in the wild card, or there's 2 more rounds. So
you made playoffs for all 8 of your leagues.
8 out of 8.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's a true. Dude. That right there is a true top dog.
It's the octopus, bro. I got the touchdown and the 2-point.
You did. Tentacles everywhere. I was able to get 4 out of 5. 80%. We can't all be top dogs here, but I'm a dog nonetheless. So, I'll rock with it.
Yeah, dude. Do you feel any nervousness about going in your teams heading into the playoffs?
I feel
a team where you're like, I squeaked in there. I don't know how I'm gonna do.
I mean, Saquon kind of lifted me on that last one, and he hasn't really done anything all year. I mean, I don't want to say all year, but he just nowhere near what he did last year, right? But he had that 52-yard break off, which was absolutely amazing. He kind of just sealed the deal for me on that one. He was getting some good yardage, but the blow to the Indianapolis Colts, man. I mean, that really puts Alec Pierce in a bind. That puts basically that whole offense in a bind, and that's what kind of scares me a little bit.
Definitely would be scared to play any Colts heading forward.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's just one of them. But other than that, I made a couple 2 weeks ahead of time moves so I can make sure that my guys are ready. I have some extra people and stuff like that. That's how you win championships, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Did you have a similar quarterback in all your leagues that you went with?
This year I had Bo Nix in most of them.
Okay.
And
big Bo believer, huh? Boomer.
Yeah, Bo. I waited because I wanted to really solidify some running backs and wide receivers this year. And I wanted my guy Trey McBride the entire time, so I tried to get him as many as I could. I picked him before anybody else, but that kind of left the board to fall with running backs and wide receivers, and kind of left me with decent QBs. You know what I mean? Nothing crazy, but he's been good in certain aspects.
Yeah, no, I mean, I feel like definitely quarterback is a position you can kind of wait on, especially nowadays. I mean, I played the quarterback roulette most of the year in a couple of my leagues. I have Caleb Williams, Jordan Love. Definitely lucked out. And one of the leagues, somebody dropped Joe Burrow, so snagged him up, kept him on my IR spot for a while.
Yeah, we talked about that. That was something that was big on people, to make sure that people picked him up.
Yep. So, feel good.
I was able to pick up Trevor Lawrence about 2 weeks ago, knowing that he had an easier schedule, and I like the weapons. Strange is back. He's got Jacoby Myers, Parker's there, and look, Brian Thomas Jr. is starting to get back into the swing of things. So they got the Jets coming up, and I feel very comfortable about that, putting him inside that lineup this week against the Jets. So I'm stoked to have a good quarterback with some really good receivers.
Yeah, he's just so up and down. It makes me a little nervous. I know he's been playing fairly decent, but man, there's some games he looks like the absolute worst quarterback, and some he looks fairly decent. So depends on which T-Law you're gonna get.
That's true. Speaking of quarterbacks, you want to jump into some news? Because we have some news about quarterbacks, but we also have some news about some other things.
Yeah, let's jump in.
All right. Let's jump into the news, baby. Do you want to start off, sir?
I think it would make sense. I got
Okay.
you. So the Bengals defensive end Trey Hendrickson undergoes core muscle surgery. So Trey Hendrickson remains out of the Bengals lineup. Last year's sack leader will not play in Week 15, and there is a strong chance his final appearance of the season has already taken place. Hendrickson has been dealing with what has been termed a hip injury for most of the season. After briefly returning to action, the All-Pro edge rusher has been sidelined since Week 9. Bengals head coach Zach Taylor ruled Hendrickson out for this week when speaking to the media on Monday, noting via ESPN's Ben Baby a visit with a specialist is upcoming. Since Taylor's remarks, a Baby's colleague Adam Schefter has reported Hendrickson is set to undergo core muscle surgery to correct an issue which is not healed as expected with rest. Ian Rappaport and Tom Pelissero cautioned that the upcoming visit with Dr. William Myers in Philadelphia comes as Hendrickson is merely considering surgery at this point. Provided he does go under the knife, though, Hendrickson's season will almost assuredly be over. And an update with that is Hendrickson has indeed undergone surgery. Rappaport reports. The procedure took place this morning, December 9th, and its recovery timeline ensures a return in time for Cincinnati's final 4 games will not be possible. So now attention will turn to the matter of Hendrickson's pending free agency.
All right. Yeah, I mean, he got a good chunk of money too, just to stay on there, and it's just unfortunate that he can't stay on the field. You know, I don't know where that heads for next year, but we'll find out. Find out if he still wants to be on that Bengals team next year.
Yeah, I think it was really ugly with contract negotiations, and then he got tagged again, and now he's dealt with a bunch of injuries. I think a mutual split will just make sense. I think he probably signs elsewhere.
Yeah, probably. Let's go over to Indianapolis, where the Colts quarterback Daniel Jones suffered an Achilles tear. By the end of Sunday's game, it was widely expected testing on Daniel Jones would confirm he suffered an Achilles tear. To no surprise, that has proven to be the case. An MRI has shown that after it was completed, that the veteran insider Jordan Schultz, that Jones was indeed on the ground with a torn Achilles. So today's confirmation means surgery will be required as Jones turns his attention to 2026 as a pending free agent. His situation could now become complicated compared to where things previously stood. Surgery will take place within the next week, according to head coach Shane Steichen. And Jones enjoyed a stellar start to the campaign, leading Colts to a 7-1 record. The free agent signing played a key role in the success, as it appeared, though he was setting himself up for a notable payday for the Colts. Things have taken a major turn since then, however, with the Indianapolis Colts playoff chances taking several hits in the recent weeks. So Jones will need to focus on recovering for the Indianapolis Colts. And with that being said, actually, the Indianapolis Colts actually have called up Philip Rivers and agreed to a deal. So after a successful workout, Philip Rivers has lined up an unexpected comeback. The 44-year-old quarterback is set to finish the 2025 season with the Indianapolis Colts. Team and player agreed to a practice squad deal on Tuesday, according to Ian Rappaport and Mark Garofalo and Tom Pelissero. Indianapolis thus has an experienced option at the quarterback spot as the team looks to reach the playoffs. This move comes in aftermath of Daniel Jones's Achilles tear. So Rivers works out for the Indianapolis Colts, and that took place last night. He adds things went well, which has, of course, been confirmed by today's signing as the Colts plan their immediate future under center. They could find themselves relying on a passer whose last NFL game was played on January 9th of 2021. So, of course, that final Rivers contest came as a member of the Indianapolis Colts. So big. I don't want to say big signing, but it's the best that they got right now.
Yeah, do you mind if I add a little bit more, like a spice to the pot there?
Yeah, shoot.
So obviously, with Daniel Jones having the Achilles injury, the Colts were able to lure Philip Rivers out of retirement, but he isn't the only retired quarterback that they reached out to. So they actually also contacted Derek Carr, Armando Salguero of Outkick reports. So at 34, Carr would have given the Colts a much younger option than Rivers. Carr also isn't nearly as far removed from playing in the NFL as Rivers, who hung it up after the 2020 season. Carr, a four-time Pro Bowler, started in all 10 of his appearances with New Orleans last year. While battling a debilitating shoulder injury, Carr decided to call it a career in May. The Saints announced that the Carr had significant degenerative changes to his rotator cuff. 7 months later, it's unclear if Carr is even healthy enough to resume his career. However, as of September, Carr hadn't closed the doors on a potential NFL return. At least 2 teams have mulled over adding him this year. So before acquiring Joe Flacco from the Browns in early October, the Bengals considered Carr as a potential substitute for then injured Joe Burrow. And then with the November 4th trade deadline still weeks away at that time, the Bengals could have swung a deal with New Orleans for Carr. The fact that the deadline has passed and the Saints still own Carr's rights complicated matters. Even if Carr was motivated to play, he can't sign with the Colts or anyone else unless the Saints flat out release him from the reserve/retired list. Cutting Carr at this stage of the season would subject him to waivers. The Colts would even have first dibs on Carr in that scenario. So,
Yeah, I mean, not for nothing. I would say this: even if Derek Carr came in there, he was. I mean, I guess forgive me for saying this, but he's gonna hurt one of those wide receivers. He always leads his wide receivers into danger, you know. But it is a younger version that you might need too. So I mean, I can
it's a guy who started games and was decent last year, but yeah, I mean, with the trade deadline passed and the Saints owning his rights, there's no way it would have worked out. But still, it's interesting. What if Carr had gone to the Colts?
Absolutely.
After the Daniel Jones injury. But I'll finish up with another older player coming back, another edge rusher. So the Buccaneers are bringing back Jason Pierre-Paul. So Jason Pierre-Paul, or JPP, is making an NFL comeback. The veteran edge rusher worked out for the Buccaneers on Monday, and things went well on that front. Pierre-Paul has a deal in place with Tampa Bay. Ian Rappaport, Mike Garafolo, and Tom Pelissero of NFL Network report. Pelissero noted earlier today that a workout had been arranged. Now the Bucs will seek out a pass rush boost in the form of a familiar face. This practice squad pact is now official per a team announcement. So Pierre-Paul's first stint with the organization spanned 4 seasons as the pass rusher collected 33 sacks across 54 games. The veteran also added another 2.5 sacks in 6 playoff appearances with Tampa Bay, including 2 sacks en route to the Buccaneers championship in 2020. So since leaving the franchise after the 2021 campaign, JPP has bounced around the NFL. He started 13 of his 14 appearances for the Ravens in 2022, but finished with only 3 sacks. He then split the 2023 season between the Saints and Dolphins when he was limited to only a pair of tackles in 3 games. The veteran has been pushing for an NFL return since getting cut by Miami 2 years ago, and he has finally found that opportunity in a familiar face with Tampa Bay.
All right. Yeah. I think they're trying to make this run here. So it's he's familiar with the defense, and we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, they need some help. I mean, they just lost to the lowly Saints. Things are bad.
Yeah. Well, speaking of getting into games, let's jump into these Week 14 matchups and what had happened, and let's start with one of your favorite teams to bash on, the Atlanta Falcons, as the other kind of birds came over and just completely took the flock.
Bird on bird crime there.
Bird on bird crime it is, and Yeah, I'm gonna. Should I start? Should you start?
You already started rolling, so
All right, let's
who's
do it.
going?
All right, so let's go over to Seahawks and Falcons, where the Seahawks absolutely just demolished the Atlanta Falcons at home, 37-9. This brings the Seattle Seahawks to a 10-3 record and bringing the Atlanta Falcons to 4-9, where Sam Darnold went 20 for 30, 249 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. He was sacked twice, but the run game did pretty well. 7 carries, 46 yards for Zach Charbonnet. Kenneth Walker got 10 for 29, though. So it was even Velus Jones got in there for 4 for 32. So they mixed it up a lot. But the team overall, 26 carries for 129 yards on the ground. No shock here. Jackson Smith Najigba, 10 targets, 7 receptions, 92 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Cooper Kupp was able to get in there 2 for 35 and a touchdown. And Rashid Shaheed, big star of this game, 5 targets, 4 receptions, 67 yards, and a wallop of a punt return. Punt return or kickoff? I think it was
I think he does both.
Yeah, no, but it was a kickoff. He had a 100-yard kickoff returned for a touchdown. He absolutely burned this special teams, and it was amazing to watch, amazing to see. The Seattle defense actually didn't get as many sacks or what have you as they usually get, but their defense and special teams were able to get that touchdown. But 10 pass deflections, which is they were on the ball and made it very, very difficult for Kirk Cousins. And with that, Kirk Cousins only went 15 for 30, 162 yards, and 2 interceptions. They were actually able to run the ball pretty good. Bijan Robinson, 20 for 86 on the ground. Tyler Algier, 11 for 34 on the ground. And their main guy over here is starting to become a name not to remember for once. 10 targets, 6 receptions, and 90 yards for Kyle Pitts. And after that, it just kind of got very, very dull with Dylan Drummond, 3 for 21, and really just couldn't get much after that. So, I mean, Bijan Robinson ended up fumbling once and he lost it. Even on the other side, Drew Lock fumbled the ball for Seattle. Jackson Smith-Njigba fumbled the ball. So there are a couple fumbles in here, and Atlanta just couldn't really do anything here. They ended up getting one interception by Mike Hughes, and Seattle also was able to get 2 interceptions by Devon Witherspoon and Nick Emanwari. So overall, though, the Atlanta Falcons just got pummeled in their own place, and it looked bad, it looked ugly, and Seattle Seahawks move on to another opponent that doesn't really have a good quarterback. So God help us all here.
Yeah, I mean, just potentially put Raheem Morris on the hot seat. I mean, he's been getting blown out in majority of games, and they have the talent. It's just they can't seem to put it together. So
yeah,
I don't know, something to watch, something to monitor. Let's go over to the gym of the early slate of games. The Bengals visited the Buffalo Bills and left with an unfortunate loss. So the Bills ended up winning 39-34 at home. On the Cincinnati side, Joe Burrow went 25 of 36 for 284 yards, 4 touchdowns, threw 2 interceptions. I think he's trying to do a little too much on those, and one of them was a tip pass, so unfortunate there for him. First 2 interceptions of the season. Also took 1 sack. They couldn't get much in the run game going. You had Chase Brown lead the team in carries with 12 for 23 and a touchdown. Samaje Perine got 6 for 31. And the receiving game, I mean, you had T. Higgins get 11 targets, 6 catches, 92 yards, 2 touchdowns. But, I mean, he looked like he had multiple concussions throughout the game. I don't know how he was still in there. So it was something definitely to monitor. He did not look okay. I mean, he looked woozy, and they announced that he had concussion symptoms after the game. So we probably won't see him for at least a couple weeks. So unfortunate there. Mike Gesicki, 6 targets, 6 catches, 86 yards, and a touchdown. Jamar Chase, pretty quiet, 8 targets, 5 catches, 44 yards, and then a few other players caught some passes. And the Cincinnati defense, they couldn't do much to stop Josh Allen. They only got 3 sacks, 5 tackles for losses, 3 pass deflections, only hit him 5 times. And that was basically it for Cincinnati. On the Buffalo side, I think Josh Allen absolutely loves to play in the snow. because this was a beautiful snow game, and Josh Allen was almost perfect. 22 of 28, 251 yards, 3 touchdowns. I did take those 3 sacks, and then he also took 9 carries for 78 yards and a touchdown. James Cook, 18 for 80, and then Ty Johnson got a couple carries in there as well. And the Bane story with the receiving was these tight ends. It was a tight end show. Dawson Knox, 7 targets, 6 catches, 93 yards. Dalton Kincaid, 5 targets, 4 catches, 41 yards, and a touchdown. And then a couple of other players got a few passes. And then the only other touchdown he threw was to Jackson Haas, 1 catch for 3 yards and a touchdown. James Cook didn't end up fumbling twice. He lost one of them. And this Buffalo defense, they only got to Burrow once, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss, 7 pass deflections, 5 quarterback hits. They did return that interception for a touchdown from Christian Benford. It was a good play by him. And, yep, Buffalo Bills are moving on up. They're 9-4, and Cincinnati, I don't think they have very much playoff hopes left.
No, it was look, if you're playing fantasy and you know the Bengals are playing whomever, you grab that tight end, because if I became a tight end tomorrow, I might get a touchdown in these games. Okay, so
That's true.
Yeah, they are right dead last in against defending the tight end, and Josh Allen let that be known as he threw to 3 different tight ends. So
let's need receivers.
Let's move on to the Shedeur Sanders game, where a lot of the Shedeur Sanders lovers are gonna love this one. So the Tennessee Titans actually took a win over the Cleveland Browns, 31-29. That puts Tennessee Titans at 2-11, and the Cleveland Browns at 3-10. So Cam Ward went 14 for 28, 117 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. They ran the ball very, very well. Collectively 35 for 184 and 2 touchdowns on the ground. Tony Pollard was the name of the game. This one, 25 carries, 161 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Tyjae Spears 8 for 19. So Tyjae Spears also got 2 receptions and 28 yards. But Shamir DK, 5 for 24 and a touchdown. And that was really kind of the highest reception bout there, and no one was really even coming close to that. So but the Tennessee's defense was able to get 14 QB hits, so that does say a lot. And their defense was actually able to get an interception off of Shedeur Sanders, but that was pretty much it for their defense. Their defense held up for a while, but as garbage time kind of came in there, Shedeur Sanders went 23 for 42, 364 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception here. So he started to play pretty well. Shedeur Sanders and company did not run the ball very well on the ground. Collectively, 20 carries for 61 yards here, and Shedeur Sanders was the one that got the touchdown. So 3 for 29 for Sanders on the ground. Judkins 14 for 26. But 11 targets went to Harold Fannin Jr., hauling in 8 receptions for 114 and a touchdown. Jerry Jeudy hauling in 3 receptions out of his 5 targets for 76 yards and a touchdown. And Dylan Sampson, the running back, 5 for 64. So their defense was able to their offense, Dylan Sampson ended up fumbling and losing the ball, and Gage Larvadane ended up fumbling as well. But their defense ended up getting 7 tackles for a loss, 5 QB hits. Not too many sacks as we're used to, but Devin Bush ended up getting an interception there. And it was a good kind of comeback. I think this really helped Shedeur Sanders kind of feel it out a little bit on the field, and going against this defense. Like you said earlier, or later on Sunday, Tennessee Titans defense has not been atrocious or anything, but I think this is a perfect game to where it opened up. There's a lot of prevent happening at this time. He gets a little bit of garbage time. He can get set in the pocket a little bit, and he can make a couple throws, So that's still a lot of yardage, 360 plus yards. And, we'll see where that goes for Shedeur.
Yeah, I mean, he drove them down to get the touchdown needed. And then the 2-point call at the end of the game was just atrocious. I don't know. They tried to do some sort of wildcat pitch thing that Judkins didn't end up pitching it. And it was like, at the end of the day, like, you have Shedeur who helped drive your team down there. give them a chance to get the 2 points and take it to overtime. Like, I don't know. I don't really agree with the call, but
Yeah,
it is what it is, and Titans won. So
there you go.
the next one is a complete snooze fest, so I'm not gonna spend too much time on it. The Commanders went to Minnesota and got a walloping. They lost 31-0. Jaden Daniels also re-injured his elbow. They said they kept him out for precautionary reasons, so we'll see. But Daniels, you know what? I'm just going to go over the entire team in passing. They went 11 of 24 for 99 yards, 2 interceptions, took 2 sacks. Awful day. Run game, they went 23 for 107. Chris Rodriguez Jr. had 10 of 52 out of those yards. And in the passing game, Terry McLaurin had 3 catches, 41 yards, and Debo had 4 for 27. Mariota ended up fumbling, and this Washington defense felt like they were on the field for the entire game. They only got 4 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, 5 pass deflections, and 6 quarterback hits. And on the flip side, McCarthy didn't really have to do too much. He went 16-23, 163 yards, 3 touchdowns, did take those 4 sacks. Aaron Jones Sr. went 14 for 76. Jordan Mason, 11 for 52 and a touchdown. McCarthy got involved a little bit, 6 for 19. And then Jordan Aston actually paced the team in receiving. He had 7 targets, 4 catches, 62 yards. Josh Oliver had 2 catches, 24 yards, 2 touchdowns. TJ Hawkinson had the other touchdown. And Justin Jefferson, only 4 targets, 2 catches, 11 yards. So need to find a way to get their playmaker the ball, but they did end up winning. And the Minnesota defense was a huge reason why. They had those 2 sacks, 4 tackles for loss, 4 pass deflections, 3 quarterback hits, the 2 interceptions, and the fumble recovery. So Minnesota gets some positive momentum heading into the Sunday night showdown with Dallas. So we'll see which Minnesota shows up.
Yeah, I mean, I really thought that Washington the week earlier had a really good defense. They were making moves, and I thought it was just it was going to be easier dealing with a quarterback that just really hasn't proven anything this year, and that just was not the case. JJ McCarthy. Yeah, JJ McCarthy stepped up too, man. He slinged it, and it is what it is. And things happen, but I mean, I was even trying to get the Washington defense for fantasy, but thank God I didn't, so it would have been terrible.
Yeah, you never know. Yeah, these last final weeks, you never know which team's gonna show up, and it's wild.
Well, speaking of a team that didn't show up, let's go over to New York, where Tua Tagovailoa didn't have to do much, and he actually didn't, because he only went 13 for 21 and 127 yards and 1 touchdown on this win over the Jets. The Miami Dolphins won 34-10. But the big message here was how Miami rushed the ball. Collectively, they ran 41 times for 239 yards and 3 touchdowns against this horrific New York Jets defense. So Jalen Wright, who? Yeah, the guy that got hurt in the beginning of the year, Jalen Wright, got most of the carries with 24 carries, 107 yards, and a touchdown. Devon Achane had 7 carries, 92 yards, and a touchdown. And then you had Ollie Gordon, 5 for 17 and a touchdown. So there were so many people got a chance to run the ball. I think Mike McDaniel was on the field too. I think he got a snap. And Tua fumbled the ball once. Huh?
Achane ended up getting hurt.
Yeah,
so that's why Jalen Wright had all those snaps too.
And everybody thought it was going to be Ollie Gordon, and it just wasn't. Mm-hmm. But you got to give it to the Miami Dolphins. They stood up and they were able to get 6 sacks, 7 tackles for a loss, 9 pass deflections, 8 QB hits. They were just getting at it. Rasul Douglas had an interception. Terrell Dodson had an interception. Ethan Bonner, he had an interception too. And it was just like, it was a trickle down effect, because what had happened was Tyrod Taylor went out with a groin injury, and he only went 1 for 4, 6 yards and an interception. Brady Cook came in 14 for 30, 160. No, he did not cook. He got cooked. 14 for 30, 163 yards, 2 interceptions, 6 sacks on the day for him. So not really good. Collectively as a team, New York went 17 for 65 on the ground. Just absolutely terrible. But After a while, Cook got a little bit of a rhythm with Mason Taylor. 8 targets, 5 receptions for 51 for Mason, and 8 targets to John Mechie, 4 for 34, which he dropped a touchdown pass. It could have looked a little bit better, but he was trying to target some of these guys. It just wasn't working out. So Brady Cook fumbled the ball twice. Malachi Moore fumbled the ball. So, they fumbled the ball 3 times, and they just couldn't do anything. They got 1 sack, 7 tackles for a loss, and 3 QB hits. That's just not going to do it against this tough Miami team. So that brings New York down to 3-10, and Miami Dolphins still trying to chip their way up to the playoff spot in the hunt at 6-7. So we'll see.
How did our Jim AD Mitchell do that everyone spent all their fab money on?
AD Mitchell had 6 targets, 1 for 24.
Yeah.
That's what you get.
The up
and
and down, baby.
Now, if it was Tyrod Taylor, I promise you, he would have taken some shots. He would have, but we have to understand that Tyrod Taylor is a QB that is not going to make it through a full season. He is fragile. He gets hurt. This has been a thing that happens at every single team that he is on. It doesn't matter what team it is. He will play great, and the next game he'll probably get hurt. Like that's just what happens with him. But when he's there, he'll deliver. He'll give you some good games with some mistakes, probably. But that's just the name of the game,
Yeah, unfortunately, injuries are a part of the game.
Yeah.
But you know what? Let's head down to some positive energy.
Let's do
that. Saints went down to Tampa Bay and shut things up.
Yes.
All right. So they ended up winning, surprisingly, 24-20 over the division-leading Tampa Bay Bucks. Pretty interesting game. It was a tsunami. There was a tremendous amount of rain coming down, sloppy game.
I saw that.
But they pulled it out. Shuck went 13-20 for 144 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception, did take 3 sacks. They actually got their second opening drive touchdown of the year. So it was great to see that in week 14. And in the rushing game, our guy, Devin Neal, 19 carries, 70 yards, and a touchdown. Tyler Shuck actually went 7 for 55 and 2 rushing touchdowns, both in great fashion. And then in the receiving game, you had Devon Bailey paced the team, 5 targets, 3 catches, 4 yards. Juwan Johnson got 4 targets, 4 catches, 38 yards. Olave, 5 targets, 3 catches, 30. And quite a few other players caught a pass as well. Taysom Hill did end up fumbling, but he recovered his own fumble. And this defense, they actually showed some promise. No sacks on Baker, but they did get 3 tackles for loss, 7 pass deflections, 2 quarterback hits, and an interception. Alontae Taylor picked off Baker. And the Ireland kicker that we have now, Charlie Smith, went 1 for 2 in the field goal department. So Baker kind of had a up and down day. He went 14-30, 122 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Bucky Irving, 15 for 55. Rashad White went 11 for 53. And Baker went 6 for 42. And Sean Tucker, 7 for 29 and a touchdown. So the rushing defense continues to be an issue for New Orleans. But in the receiving, Chris Godwin, 8 targets, 5 catches, 55 yards. Bucky Irving, 3 targets, 2 catches, 26 yards, and a touchdown. And then Ibuka, 9 targets, only 2 catches, 15 yards. And he dropped that beautiful dime from Baker that would have helped put the Tampa Bay Bucks up. So just tough day, especially in that rain. And then Cameron Johnson fumbled, but also was able to recover his own fumble. And the Tampa Bay defense, like I said, they got 3 sacks, 6 tackles for loss, 4 pass deflections, 4 quarterback hits, and the interception. So tough day for the Bucks, but Saints are showing fight, even despite them being 3-10 and already eliminated from the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, congrats on your team getting a dub there, man. And I will say this though, that Egbuka drop, man. I mean, if you watched that route running too, like he is just a stud, dude. Like he perfect route running, executed it perfectly. Yeah. And when there was nobody there, it was just a perfect, fake, basically a fake flag, and just took off. And I'm like, geez, absolutely amazing route running guy. So let's go to the Colts and the Jaguars, where didn't know this, but since 2014, I'm going to fact check that. I believe the Jaguars have not lost at home to the Colts.
Yeah, I believe that. That's true.
I heard that today. I was like, that's wild. So let's jump into that one, where this is This is where Daniel Jones got hurt. Daniel Jones beforehand went 5 for 7 and went an interception. But Riley Leonard came in and threw 18 for 29. Not terrible, 145 yards and an interception, though. He took a sack, but the Jacksonville Jaguars just took advantage of this and took a win 36-19. Brings the Indianapolis Colts to 8-5. Jacksonville Jaguars 9-4. So Jonathan Taylor was able to get 21 carries, 74 yards, and a touchdown. And that was kind of it. You know what I mean? They didn't really get too much. Riley Leonard ended up getting a rushing touchdown for 5 yards, but Alec Pierce pretty much leading the way in yards here. 8 targets, hauled in 5 receptions for 80 yards, and then Michael Pittman getting 12 targets, 9 receptions for 79, and Josh Downs 4 for 23. Jonathan Taylor ended up fumbling in this game, but the Colts defense just couldn't get any sacks, 4 tackles for a loss, and no QB hits and no interceptions. So, that could really hurt the game right there. And it really did allow Trevor Lawrence to go 17 for 30. Not great, but it was more than enough. 244 yards and 2 touchdowns. When you're not being touched in the pocket and it's very clean, that kind of helps. ATN went 20 for 74 on the ground and 2 touchdowns. That definitely helps. And Trevor Lawrence 4 for 16 on the ground, but 6 targets going to Brian Thomas Jr. He hauled in 3 of them for 87. 6 targets to Tim Patrick, 5 receptions for 78 and a touchdown. And Jacoby Myers getting 10 targets in this one, only hauling in 4 for 39 of those. But Bashil Tootin got 2 fumbles.
Bashil
Tootin. Losing one of them, and that was that actually I think is going to be more solidified, making sure that ATN is getting the rock probably even more if he continues to do that. But this defense only getting 1 sack too, but 9 pass deflections and 5 QB hits, not too bad. But Devin Lloyd getting an interception, and Greg Newsome II also getting an interception as well. So 36-19 win in that division, and I'm just going to keep on moving on, and we'll see how the Indianapolis Colts do. They got some tough matchups coming up, but the Jacksonville Jaguars, they're facing the Jets, so they might actually get a really, really good. Yeah, they might be slipping right in here. So, but that does it for that game.
Sweet. Let's go to another division matchup. This time the AFC North. You had the Pittsburgh Steelers go into Baltimore and leave with a dub. They ended up winning 27-22, and we had a vintage Rodgers performance. A-Rod went 23 of 34 for 284 yards, 1 touchdown. Also had a nice little scramble for a touchdown towards the end zone there. It was great. Could not do anything on the ground. Pittsburgh as a team went 17 for 34, but did rush for 2 touchdowns, one from Gainwell and that scramble from Rodgers. In the receiving game, you had DK Metcalf go off, 12 targets, 7 catches, 148 yards. Jaylen Warren, 3 targets, 3 catches, 49 yards, and a touchdown. Calvin Austin had a catch. Kenneth Gainwell had 6 catches, and that's pretty much it. It was DK and the Minions, again, with DK leading the team. And the Pittsburgh defense, they only had 2 sacks, 5 tackles for loss, 5 pass deflections, 5 quarterback hits, did intercept Lamar Jackson 1 time. They continue to struggle defending the run. We'll flip it over to Baltimore. Baltimore took 40 carries for 217 yards and a touchdown, 25 carries going for 94 yards from Derrick Henry, 6 for 76 from Keith Mitchell. And Lamar Jackson showed us that his legs aren't out of juice yet. 7 carries, 43 yards, and a touchdown. Speaking of Lamar, he went 19 of 35 for 219 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, did take those 2 sacks. And then Zay Flowers, a week after having negative points in fantasy, he had 11 targets, 8 catches, and 124 yards. Isaiah Likely had 6 targets, 4 catches, 25 yards, and a touchdown. Rashad Bateman had a couple catches. Mark Andrews had 1 catch. But I think one thing we do need to discuss is towards the end of the game, Mark Andrews kind of deflected the pass that was intended for DeAndre Hopkins in the back of the end zone, which would have put Baltimore up. So it'd be, he got that nice contract extension and then throwing games. Is that what's happening?
I don't know what's going on over there, man, but there's something happening.
Wild business. Baltimore, 0 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, 5 pass deflections, 1 quarterback hit. This team's spiraling, and I don't think they necessarily have an answer right now. So we'll see what happens with Baltimore and Pittsburgh, because they have another date here in a couple weeks.
Yes, they do. They're starting to do that more and more each year, man. They just compile the division games, and it comes down to nitty gritty. Who's going to make the playoffs? Who's not? So
it's kind of weird because they have a team play. They play each other. They skip a week and then they play each other again. Kind of. Yeah, I feel like that's been more of a thing here recently.
Yeah, and way too close. I mean, like really close. Like you're saying that within 2-3 weeks, it's just like boom. Okay, play somebody else, and then boom, you're playing them again. And it's just like
right.
You would think that maybe it's kind of like a build-up. You know what I mean? Hey, you play in week 7. Oh, all right, now you're playing week 14.
Spread it out a little bit.
Yeah,
you spread it out a little bit. But I don't know.
Let's go to another division game where the Las Vegas Raiders hosted the Denver Broncos. Denver Broncos increasing their win total to 11-2 with a 24-17 win over the Las Vegas Raiders at 2-11 now. Bo Nix looked actually pretty good. He went 31 for 38, 212 yards, no score, no interception, but sacked 3 times. But he did get a rushing touchdown. He went 3 for 15 on the ground and a touchdown. And RJ Harvey went 17 carries for 75 yards and a touchdown. They ran the ball pretty good collectively, gaining 31 carries for 152 yards on the ground. And 10 targets going to Cortland Sutton, 6 receptions, 62 yards, and 6 receptions also by RJ Harvey. So he had a really good day in the air, on the ground, 6 for 25 in the air, but he hauled in every single one of his targets, which is great. Pat Bryant went 4 for 32, and little Jordan Humphrey 3 for 27. No fumbles for Denver. That's exactly what Sean Payton likes, but they were able to get 4 sacks, 5 tackles for a loss, and 7 QB hits. No interceptions on that end, but they were Marvin Mims was able to get a punt return for a touchdown, 48-yard touchdown. And then over to the other side, Geno Smith went 13 for 21, 116 yards and a touchdown, sacked 3 times. Even Kenny Pickett came in replacement and went 8 for 11, 97 yards and a touchdown as well. They could not get the ball rolling here. They just went Ashton Jeanty 10 for 30. That pretty much sums up what they could not do against this Denver Broncos defense. But here's a name. Here's a new name coming into the realm of the Las Vegas receiving. 6 targets, 6 receptions, and 50 yards for Jack Bech. Finally getting a little bit of play time here. 5 targets going to Brock Bowers. He hauled in 4 of them for 46 yards and a touchdown. And Shedrick Jackson, 1 for 25, 1 touchdown, and Tyler Lockett 3 for 41. So it was a tough day for Las Vegas. Yep. That was a tough day for them. They their defense couldn't really get after it either. They only had 3 sacks, 4 tackles for a loss, and 6 QB hits, no interceptions. Just really couldn't seal the deal. But what I will say is there was a very questionable thing as well in this game as well, when Pete Carroll decided with 3 seconds left to kick the field goal and making it, instead of 24-14, 24-17. Now, I think being a veteran coach inside of a game, that kick is going to take 3 seconds. And some people say that you're in Vegas and it just so happens that the under-over was at 3 points. So I don't know what's going on here. It could be, it could not be. Who knows? Petey Pablo, I don't know what you're doing over there in Las Vegas, but he's definitely being a freak of league over there. So
I don't know. I don't think I want anything to do with that. I want nothing.
Bring the heat over here. I got it.
Yeah. I want no part of that, especially with some of these coaches in the NBA, like facing serious prison time and all that stuff for gambling and throwing games and stuff. Like, nah.
Yeah, I hear you.
I ain't touching that.
I got you.
Let's go to the next division game. This one, NFC North. Really fun, exciting game. You had the Chicago Bears visit the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah.
Ended up losing. The Packers won 28-21. But as a Bears, fan and as a Caleb admirer, I think people should be really excited for this Bears team. I think it was a good breakout game for one of their rookie receivers, and Caleb played great in the second half. First half was a little shaky, but he went 19-35 for 186 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. Only took 1 sack. DeAndre Swift went 13 for 63, Kyle Monangai, the rookie sensation, went 14 for 57. Caleb 4 for 15. But Luther Burden III, he had 6 targets, 4 catches, 67 yards. I think he's extremely talented. He could be a star in this offense. Cole Kmet, 3 targets, 2 catches, 42 yards. Colson Loveland, 5 targets, 4 catches, 29 yards, and a touchdown. And quite a few other players catch a pass. I think they need to start having a serious conversation about DJ Moore. I think we should be on the lookout for him potentially being on a different team next year. He finished with 3 targets, 1 catch for -4 yards. So Josh Blackwell fumbled the ball, but he was able to recover it. Chicago defense only got 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss, 3 pass deflections, 1 quarterback hit, and they did intercept Jordan Love 1 time. And on the Green Bay side, Jordan Love, 17 to 25, 234 yards, 3 touchdowns, that 1 interception, and that 1 sack. Josh Jacobs continued to be a monster for Green Bay, 20 carries for 86 yards and a touchdown. Jaden Reed returned. He had 2 carries for 22 yards. And in the receiving game, Christian Watson continues to be basically the number 1 over there. 4 targets, 4 catches, 89 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Bo Melton with 2 targets, 1 catch, 45 yards, and a touchdown. Jaden Reed, 4 targets, 4 catches, 31 yards, and then quite a few other players caught some passes as well. And then this Green Bay defense, they were only able to sack Caleb that 1 time, 2 tackles for loss, 3 pass deflections, 6 quarterback hits, and the game-clinching interception from Keyshawn Nixon. Caleb just was not able to get enough air on it, kind of underthrew the pass, and it was picked off in the end zone. But really exciting game, and for both teams, I would be excited for both fan bases heading into the playoff run. So,
yeah, one thing with that last play too, going over to Cole Kmet, you kind of saw Caleb Williams hesitate a little bit of what he's actually done, kind of this entire year. I don't want to say this entire year, but his career, right? Like obviously the Bears look great, but he's always had that little bit of a problem of holding on to the ball, and it kind of showed right there. If he would have released it just a hair earlier, you know what I mean? I think he could have not given that quarterback or cornerback time to get over to that spot. You know what I mean? Just you had to release it a little bit quicker, but it wasn't a bad play call. I really don't think it was. And he was also throwing off balance as well. So, but I think he's really progressed.
Throw, or if he threw it earlier, either way,
But he's really progressed this year. I will say that. So he's taken a major step up. He's making a lot of better mental decisions as well. So,
no doubt.
Let's go to another division game, as it's Division Central over here, where the Los Angeles Rams showed absolutely no mercy against the Arizona Cardinals, taking a 45-17 win in Arizona. So that puts the Rams to 10-3 and Arizona Cardinals to 3-10, where Matthew Stafford went abysmal with 22 and 31, 281 yards and 3 touchdowns. No sacks. He was sitting very comfortably in that pocket. But you know what else was sitting comfortably? Was that run game. They went 36 carries, 249 yards, and 3 touchdowns against this Arizona Cardinals defense. Blake Corum, 12 for 128 and 2 touchdowns. Kyron Williams, 13 for 84 and a touchdown. Ronnie Rivers even got 8 carries for 41 yards. Like, this is how you know it's a good game. Jimmy Garoppolo got 3 carries, even though it was for -4 yards. Okay, so when he's
getting kneel it out, baby.
Yeah, there you go. That's what it is. So, but Puka Nacua doing Puka Nacua things. 11 targets, 7 receptions, 167 yards, and a touchdown. And Colby Parkinson getting 5 targets, 3 receptions for 32 yards and a touchdown. And Devontae Adams, his lowest of the year, I believe, 4 for 29 with those 6 targets. But they weren't. They didn't fumble the ball once, but their defense was able to get 3 sacks, 6 pass deflections, and 11 QB hits. So, I mean, they really were getting after Jacoby Brissett. But Jacoby Brissett still stayed in that pocket, went 25 for 44, 271 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. They could not get the ball rolling here, okay? 14 for 51 collectively on this team. And they just, even Jacoby Brissett was the one with the most rushing yards on this team for 4 for 22. But he was throwing 16 targets to Michael Wilson. He found his new favorite receiver. 11 receptions, 142 yards, and 2 touchdowns from Michael Wilson. 9 targets to Trey McBride, 5 for 58. And Bam Knight got 3 for 18. So they didn't fumble the ball at all. So they kept it pretty safe, except for the one interception Nate Landman had on the Los Angeles side. But they couldn't get any sacks. They couldn't get any tackles for a loss. They had 2 pass deflections and 2 QB hits. That's not necessarily a recipe for a win. So the Rams really just took advantage of this, and they just blew them out of the water. So the Rams are a very dangerous team, but I will give credit to Jacoby Brissett for still putting up 271 and 2 touchdowns on them. So that's a very tough defense. As you have said this all year before the year started, that this Rams defense is no joke. So kudos to you.
Real life. Yeah.
Real life.
I think this next game warrants maybe like a moment of silence. I think we saw the end of the Chiefs dynasty. So let's just take a moment and just thank you. Chiefs ended up losing at home to the Houston Texans 20-10. And it's mainly the reason for the Chiefs loss was because of their stars. Andy Reid had some questionable coaching decisions. Rashee Rice dropped multiple balls. Travis Kelce dropped multiple balls, and just an off day. But I'll start with the passing of Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes went 14 of 33, 160 yards, 0 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, took 2 sacks. Mahomes led the team in rushing. He had 7 carries, 59 yards. Kareem Hunt went 12 for 30 and a touchdown. Pacheco was 9 for 30. And this receiving, you had Xavier Worthy, 4 targets, 3 catches, 55 yards. Hollywood Brown, 2 targets, 1 catch, 35 yards. Rashee Rice, 8 targets, 4 catches, 34 yards. And he also got a huge hit on him, which I think affected him throughout the game.
That was a hit. Petre knocked him around, dude. He was a bobble doll.
Yeah, it was bad news bears there. But Tyquan Thornton, 3 targets, 2 catches, 19 yards, with that drop being in the end zone as well. Noah Gray, 3 targets, 1 catch, 14 yards. Travis Kelce, 5 targets, 1 catch, 8 yards. And I'm pretty sure he's responsible for 2 interceptions? I know 1 at least.
Yeah.
But yeah, just crazy. And this Kansas City defense actually played really, really great. I don't think the Texans completed more than 2 passes, maybe 3 in the second half.
Mm-hmm.
The Chiefs defense went 3 sacks, 6 tackles for loss, 4 pass deflections, 10 quarterback hits. But the story of the game was Houston and their defense. They have the most elite unit in the NFL. But CJ Stroud, he went 15 to 31, 203 yards, 1 touchdown, did take 3 sacks. Woody Marks, I'm pretty sure he's probably the least efficient running back in the NFL, but boy, does he get touches. 26 carries, 68 yards. Dare Agungabowale had 1 carry for 5 yards and a touchdown. CJ went 2 for 5. Nico Collins, 8 targets, 4 catches, 121 yards. Jaden Higgins, 5 targets, 3 catches, 34 yards. Dalton Schultz, 4 targets, 3 catches, 22. And then you had some other players catch a pass, with Woody Marks catching a touchdown. But this Houston defense was lights out. 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, 7 pass deflections, 8 quarterback hits, and those 3 interceptions. They played incredible. Houston fans should be really excited. They have a chance to take that division. I believe they have another game with Jacksonville on the slate as well. So that's going to be a fun division to watch to see who ends up actually taking it at the end. But, Chiefs, they're on the outside looking in with their percentage chances just dropping like a rock. So.
Yeah, I think that Houston and Jaguar system, Jaguar system. By the way, the Jaguar was a system. It was a Nintendo system. Back in the day, back in the early 90s. Anyway, no, that Jacksonville Jaguars and Houston Texans game is going to be good, and I think that defense. Look, Jacksonville just took that game last time, and Houston is going to make a statement. They have to this time around. And I have a feeling they're really going to shut that run game down, and they're going to force Trevor Lawrence to pass, which, by the way, he's got weapons. He's got really good weapons, and this is a really elite defense. This is going to be a very fun. Yeah, it's going to be a good game to watch.
Chiefs had weapons too.
They did. But you know what? I heard this today too, and I agree with this. everybody was talking about the Chiefs, the Chiefs, the Chiefs. They're trying to get their playoff run. So are the Texans. So are the Texans. Like, what about them? But it's always the Chiefs that are talked about, So I understand it because it's always the Chiefs that are talked about. But now it's, hey, I'm sorry, but the Chiefs are now down here. Everybody else is moving up,
Yeah, like I said, I think it's the end of the Chiefs as we know it.
I mean, we had them ranked that they could not make the playoffs this year. That's where we had them this year. So it's in fruition, it's happening now. So, but let's go to let's go to our last game, our Monday night game. Where me and T-Dub are having a theme here every Monday night now. It's called the Drunken Game, and we just seem to be running into these Monday night drunken games here, where the Chargers at home took a 22-19 win over the Philadelphia Eagles. That puts the Chargers to 9-4, and that puts the Eagles to 8-5. Jalen Hurts went 21 for 40, 240 yards, no touchdowns, 4 interceptions. He just did not look like he knew where to throw the ball. But Saquon ended up going 20 carries for 122 yards and a touchdown, having a 52-yard run to the end zone there. And AJ Brown, 13 targets, 6 receptions, 100 yards. Dallas Goedert, 8 for 78, and Devontae Smith, 4 for 37. Jalen Hurts ended up fumbling the ball. Britton Covey ended up fumbling the ball, and this Philly defense ended up getting 7 sacks, 7 tackles for a loss, and 11 QB hits. So it's not like they weren't at it. Cooper DeJean looked absolutely excellent in this game. He locked down McConkey. He really did. He was excellent in this game. Adoree Jackson got an interception. Justin Herbert, tough dude. Watching this game, he was very, very tough in this game. He did what he had to do. He didn't look great doing it, but we all knew why. He went 12 for 26, 139 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. He was sacked 7 times, but they got the ball rolling on the ground. Justin Herbert even carried the ball 10 times for 66 yards. Marion Hampton, 13 for 56, and Kamani Vidal went 14 for 44. And look, he couldn't really throw the ball too much. Keenan Allen with the most, 3 for 22, but Kamani Vidal had a long reception for 60 yards, and that was kind of really it. But Justin ended up fumbling twice, lost it once. Deshaun Hand ended up fumbling the ball, and they fumbled it 3 times. So there was a lot of. This is a really crazy game where the Chargers only ended up sacking Hurts once, but they had 10 pass deflections, 7 tackles for a loss, and 6 QB hits. But they had 4 interceptions here, with Cam Hart getting one, Deshaun Hand getting one, Dante Jackson, Tony Jefferson. Like, I don't know what it was, whether their scheme worked out really good, but they just had Jalen Hurts' number. It was a field goal game, pretty much, and it was Elliott and Dicker the kicker. So that's pretty much what it was, and Dicker the kicker came out on top, 22-19. Wild game, wild game.
Yeah, do you think it had anything to do with them being in the Monsters Inc. world? You think that's why it was such a
I don't know. I didn't
game?
get to see. I didn't actually get to see that. Was that on like Nickelodeon or something?
I don't know. I think we might have watched it for a little bit, but I was like, I can't watch a full game like this.
Yeah.
There's no way.
I remember they did that with something else too, didn't they?
They did The Simpsons last year.
Okay, they did Toy Story too, right?
I think for a playoff game. I'm not sure.
Okay. Yeah, but I mean, it was a wild Week 14 division game. So I mean, now everybody's gonna come off of these and probably come back to them in Week 16. So Week 15 is gonna be very, very interesting. These could be some do or dies in this Week 15 on who's eliminated, and you're gonna slowly start to see some of these teams just disintegrate, and they're just gonna fall into the draft area now. So.
Yeah, draft order is going to be very, very key for us heading forward.
Yeah,
because as we're about to have the Toilet Bowl in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I actually renamed it in our fantasy football league. I don't know if you saw that. I call it
No,
the
I didn't see what you did.
called it the Splatter Bowl.
Okay.
Why not? You know what I mean? Gotta have some fun with it. But speaking of having some fun, if you guys have not yet, please make sure that you guys follow us at Top Dog Coverage on YouTube. We are on a mission to 500 subscribers. We would love to have you guys part of the family and making sure that you are taking up all of the news and notes and everything that we put out there. So follow us on YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. Stay connected with us on Spotify as well. Hit the 4 and 5 star buttons. Make sure you leave some comments for us, and on Apple, so you guys can find us on there. And if you are across seas, we do have some across seas listeners. Go on Deezer. Deezer is the best way to make sure that you guys can get a hold of us. But that does it for us. It is your boy Dirty. It is your boy C Dub, and you will see us doing our week 15 predictions on our next episode. Hope you guys had a great time, and we will see you on the flip side. Peace.
Peace.